Welcome to my detailed review of Finnair's A350 business class all the way into Hong Kong. And in today's episode, I will show you all about Finnair's business class seat, its interesting catering, as well as its service status. But most importantly, I will also show you how I managed to get into the world's only sauna in an actual airport. So if any of these interest you, or perhaps you just want to see me stripping naked, hit that thumbs up button. And also don't forget to subscribe because we are about to embark on the journey of all time. Welcome everyone to Frankfurt, and today I want to show you Finnair business class all the way to Hong Kong. And thus, we have to first get onto our flight to Helsinki. And welcome to One World Alliance, where the priority lane is literally longer than the plebeian economy lane.
One long, angry line later.
Wow, this might be one of the worst, actually the worst check-in experience I've ever had since 2016, I think. The line was extremely slow, and the agent was just doesn't care. She's just like, yeah, like I checked, there's no window seat. Because for me, I really want the window seat so I can show you what it's like over the wings. But no, she's just like, no, I checked, it's full, sorry. And I just told her that, yeah, because your IT sucks. And that's another thing I have to complain about Finnair. Finnair's IT is absolutely atrocious. And thus, you know, I will be trapped in the middle seat. And I do have to apologize to you. And thus, yeah. Ooh, it's not off to a good start. Hopefully, we can check out the lounge in Frankfurt and see what they have on offer. And oh, such a naive, innocent child I was. Because this security line that you're seeing right now makes a baby sloth look like Usain Bolt. A seemingly short line took me a solid 75 minutes to go through. Because the German efficiency is like a good Hawaiian pizza. It is a myth. It never existed to begin with. Holy moly, that might be the worst security I've ever been through. There are only 2 lanes and they're going incredibly slow. I've never seen a line that goes this slow. And I cannot possibly believe this is the earliest I've ever arrived for a flight since the past 4 or 5 years. And I barely have time now to check out the lounges. What? And talking about lounges, Finnair here in Frankfurt uses the Air France lounge. So let's take a quick look. The Air France KLM lounge is situated at the far end of this glorified psychiatric hospital entrance walkway, which is also coincidentally named as the Frankfurt Airport Terminal 2. And once upon gaining entry, I found out that this lounge has a relatively good but dated decor. It kind of reminds me of a mid-2000s cocaine den that is designed by a Hollywood star that was just in his prime. And while the posters of the bygone good years of Air France and KLM are scattered around the different corners of the lounge, I found it difficult to enjoy the environments of this small room, given the fact that it was packed to the brim. So let's look at something a little bit more pleasant, such as the food offering. While all of the buffet technically gets the job done, it is very bare-bone and cannot even shine a light against the high standards that is set by Air France as well as KLM in their respective hub lounges. Take a look of my KLM business class review linked on the top right and check out what they have on offer in their own hub in Amsterdam, and you're gonna see that this is absolutely garbage. With just a little bit of food that covers the basic cold cuts, bread, cake, fruits, and salads, there is a measly selection of 2 hot food options and a small cluster of random wines. This business class buffet spread somehow makes a kindergarten canteen in an underfunded Ohio school district look fancy and luxurious. And I can't help but feel sorry for people who actually paid huge money to enjoy this garbage. And no, just a quick note, I only paid about $250 for this trip, and I'll explain a little bit later in the video. Well, now that the quick launch experience is over, let's go to Helsinki. Look at it, I'm absolutely the last person. After getting bussed around the Frankfurt airport tarmac for so long that I thought I was a World War II soldier being drafted to fight in the Eastern Front against the Soviet Union, I eagerly hopped off the bus and climbed onto the stairs in order to be the first on board our special One World livery Embraer 190. And the business class seat is really nothing much to talk about because for all of the innocent sweet summer child who do not know, the so-called business class seat, quote unquote, here in
Europe is basically an economy seat with a blocked middle section. There is virtually no difference in legroom, width, or any other thing in terms of hard product. So calling it a business class is basically like saying mashed potatoes is Irish guacamole. While you can make an argument for it, but the fact that you are arguing for it already means you have lost. So let's get all of these boring sections out of the way, because the main course is our long-haul wide-body flight into Asia, and upon landing in Helsinki, I have something real special to show you.
Folks, welcome to Helsinki, and now let's get the main course under the way. Let's go to Hong Kong. Well, before that, let's check out the business class lounge Finnair has on offer here in the airport, and I have a little bit of a surprise for you.
The Finnair non-Schengen side of the business class is situated after the passport control and is around where you turn off to gate 55. It is open from the wee hours in the morning all the way until midnight, so it should cover a vast majority of the flights. And that even includes my flight way past midnight to Hong Kong, the very last one of the day. And after passing through the beautiful facade, I was greeted by the receptionist, who have become my acquaintance in the past few years. And let me show you the lounge I visit the most on this small planet. Passing through the typical Christmas decor, of which the Santa Claus officially technically lives about a short hop of flight north of here in Rovaniemi. But all of that aside, welcome to the first area of this lounge. It is comprised of a large central light fixture with small tables in order to accommodate quick, fast dining. And the classy wooden tables are lit by the small electronic candles that flicker from time to time. And this is also the area where the big families will sit together. And look at this cute Finnish symbol, the moomin, in the form of a small table light for the children to do their crayon work. And the after portion of the lounge is much wider, and it contains a myriad of seating options. Most of them are soft sofa-like with not that much of a table surface. You can see the Nordic simple design style through and through, and all of the chairs as well as the carpet comes in a typical Finnish dark blue. But what makes this lounge especially beautiful is the center bar. It has a gorgeous light fixture on top of it, but it also features a wide variety of drinks that you can order for completely free. And there is always a bartender ready to make you a delicious signature blueberry cocktail. But I know most of the people come to these review videos for the food. So here is the buffet spread of what Finnair offers late at night. And you can see that there is a very healthy, and I mean that literally, spread of all kinds of food, ranging from dark rye bread to even darker rye bread, and a bunch of hot food options cooked in large cast iron pots, which really adds some kind of a home cooking feel to this entire operation. And you can see that the food are very sauce heavy and not exactly what I would call very well presented. And one major complaint about Finnish food that I have is that it is very bland. While roasted vegetable is very good for your health, I doubt that this can compare with the lobster thermidor Singapore Airlines puts on offer. But that is not the problem of Finnair, but Finnish culture in general. Their life is so much beyond us normal humans that people like you and me are simply not cultured enough to understand why their standards are so high. And one of my favorite machines to play around in this lounge is the juice machine. And here you can see the screen's only job is to display 4 kinds of drinks constantly and waiting for you to touch it. So why don't we get a lingonberry juice to begin with? And oh, a quick side note about Finnish as a language. You would think that German is bad by connecting 17 different words that are completely unrelated to each other together. Take a look of the Finnish word for special dietary requirements. I have never seen one single word that's so perfectly mimicking having a seizure in a dry tumbling machine before. So overall, the lounge food offering as well as the wine offering you're seeing is great, but it is not great for you or me who are raised on MSG and heavy flavorings. And what else is one class above us normal human beings are the bathrooms. They are absolutely spotless with huge mirrors and great lighting, so much so I had the desire to just lie down and rest in the bathroom instead. But my job of filming around the lounge took me towards the shower suites, and the friendly attendant allowed me to enter even though I had no desire of showering. The digital lock unclicked and I was presented with a gorgeous, clean and spacious shower suite. This lounge is absolutely what a world-class business class hub lounge should be.
Well, that is the lounge for Finnair Business Class, and I wanted to show you the Platinum Wing, which is one of the most unique lounges in the entire world. But sadly, after COVID, they decided to open it at the very, very bad hour of 10:30 in the morning, all the way into 5:30 in the afternoon. I hope that I can enjoy it a different time and show you through the magic of editing.
2,000 years later.
Well, right now I'm on a completely different trip, but welcome to the Platinum Wing. It has a beautiful, beautiful bar with a Nordic simplicity. Wow, look at this. And also on this side, you have a little bit of a quiet area. It's not bad. And the most importantly is that this is a proper first class lounge. So if you're flying business class, you do not get access to it. And that's as high as the cabin goes on Finnair. So actually only One World Emerald and Finnair's Platinum and Platinum Lumo members get to come here and visit, which is very strange. And of course you have a proper dining area per the first class tradition commands. And I'll show you the menu later. But here you can see each seat is pretty homey. It's very beautiful. And of course, if you do not want to sit down for a proper dining, there is also a buffet section. Yeah, you can see it's of course beautifully decorated with lingonberry. Welcome to Finland. And then down here there's also another selection of all kinds of really delicious food. Yeah, that's way better than the business class section. Wow, look at all of these. Game meat tartare and cranberries. Smoked salmon mousse, rye bread flakes and pickled tomato salad. Honey roasted sweet and gold cheddar. All of the salads. Even a shrimp salad. Wow, this is horse meat. Yeah, it's a horseradish. Reindeer salad. And of course, here is a quiet area. It's a very small lounge, but yeah, definitely enough given the fact that people flying business class on Finnair do not get access to it. And here's like a little jail cell. Yeah, that's where Santa puts you if you're on the naughty list. Yeah, but the most interesting and intriguing part of this lounge has to be dedicated to a completely different section. Welcome to whatever this is. It is basically an interim room you have here. You can store your stuffs here and then shower in this. And here is a shared sauna. Yes, it is a shared sauna, and per tradition, you're supposed to go in completely naked, but I guess they understand the foreigners are coming in, and there's also ladies, and also most of these people are very high standard, so you have to put the towel around you. And yeah, it's actually shared. Like the ladies and the men, they share the same sauna. So welcome to Finland. This is one of the most bizarre amenities you can have here in an airport lounge. And apparently I am going to a sauna. I have so many questions to ask, but the receptionist just told me, have fun, you're gonna enjoy it. I'm not sure because I just feel that my private parts are gonna get cooked. Okay, I finished my shower and apparently there's nobody in there, so it's time to check out the shared sauna room. Wow, look at this room. And this apparently lights up. Yeah, when I walked in to scout, the entire thing lights up. Wow, and there's like this room, you can just chill. You can just stay here, have some cooled drinks. And apparently they call it the cooling room or something. And here's like the sauna proper. Oh my gosh, it's so hot. Yeah, I don't think my camera will last long here, but you can see, you can just sit here and suffer. Yeah, in per Finnish tradition. And apparently it's shared, so I don't think I should stay here for long, but yeah, this is one of the weirdest amenities you can have in the entire world. In an airport, a shared sauna. You're supposed to be naked with girls. I don't know if it's like a painting the pictures right or not, but it's just such a weird existence. But everything is just so beautiful. It has like a proper music. Like I cannot believe I'm enjoying this on like a $200-something ticket. Oh, it's so hot. It's so freaking hot. Oh, the steam again. The sausage is thoroughly cooked. I repeat, the sausage is thoroughly cooked. I just finished 2 sessions in there, each time about 5 minutes. Oh boy. Each time some of the Finnish guys put in more steam, put me in water and just boil up speed steam. I just die, okay? Like, this is crazy. This is so hot, but it feels so good. Like, right now I actually feel like I'm nimble again, like I'm 20. I wanna go back in.
After another 2 rounds of extremely pleasant suffering, it is time to sit down and enjoy another round of raspberry cocktail along with wild game meats and moose salad. You know, typical Finnish lunch. But we all know the best food is offered when you sit down for a proper table dining.
Well, here is the menu. You can see that it is relatively limited. You only have these 4 options. And then there's no like starters or others. So compared to other first class lounges, it's a little bit less options, but these are all made to order, so you know it's better than a lot of the others buffets, right? And not to mention, these look like something from Finland, very, very unique. This one, reindeer burger, is exactly what I have here. Ta-da! Reindeer burger. Wow, that's real Finnish food then. Look at this. And of course, you wash it down with a little bit of champagne.
Oh my God!
Well, for round 2, as always in the first class lounge, I get this kind of interesting pasta. Oh, look at this. It's freshly made with like shrimp and all kinds of seafood, I think. And down here, you get all of these little tarts. I assembled that myself. Look, I'm so artistic. And I want to point out especially is this. This is the cloudberry jam. That is a kind of berry that only grows in Nordic forests. Of course, I have to include it. And of course, this is the lingonberry. That it is very, very famous here in Finland. A lot of the sauces are made from lingonberry. And the one last thing I want to point to your attention is that this is actually what they call a long drink. It's very different than what we are used to as long drinks, right? Because it's not very long. Well, that is actually because in Finland it is a different kind of drink. It is basically a gin mixed with some kind of fruit soda. This one is grapefruit fruit soda. So actually, yeah, it smells really nice and it's really low in alcohol content. So cheers, and let's go back to the scheduled business class review.
Now coming back down from the first class high table into the measly middle class business class review, you can watch me quickly approaching the gate where we were about to board our flight to Hong Kong. But before we can get onto this beautiful A350-900, I need to show you another great thing about Helsinki Airport.
And I have to say, Helsinki is a very well designed airport. Minimum transfer time can be as low as 25 minutes. And yeah, the entire environment that they have designed has this kind of a simple Nordic feel. And you can truly feel that, they put a lot of heart into designing this place. And even simple places where you can relax and wait for your flight. They have different areas and gorgeous decor. Wow, this is like better than a lot of business class decors, and they just put it here in the gate for economy passengers.
Well, let's dilly-dally no more and board our midnight express to the Pearl of Orient, Hong Kong. I waltzed on the glass jet bridge as one of the very last people going on board because I had way too much of a good time in the lounge. And I was quickly greeted by the crew who are based in Hong Kong. This is a strange Finnair special tactic that they deploy on flights to the Far East, as the labor cost of their destinations such as Singapore, Hong Kong, and China is way lower than Finland. And that results in the hilarious phenomenon that a vast majority of these flights do not have one single cabin crew that can speak Finnish on board. And upon doing the iconic left turn, I walked down the jam-packed business class cabin that is arranged in a 1-2-1 configuration and took a closer look of my seat for the next 14 hours. Seat 6H. After settling down, I began closely examining my reverse herringbone seat that is all but the industry standard these days. First up to the right side, there is a coat hook that is not exactly the most useful. And moving on towards the front of the seat, there's a relatively medium-sized touchscreen that can be popped open to be closer to the front of your sight by pressing a button near the bottom right. And I will take a closer look of the in-flight entertainment system a bit later. And now moving on towards the left side, you can see the downside of the middle seat. There is a fixed, non-movable medium barrier that is way too intrusive if you want to talk with your seat neighbor, but definitely not large enough that you would not be able to see them during normal times. So say hi to this middle-aged Asian man and let's move on to the ottoman towards the end of the seat. It is relatively okay in size, and you can see I put up a pair of flip-flops as a comparison. And talking about the comforts, there is also a large, relatively heavy blanket, and it comes from a compartment that is beneath the ottoman, which is definitely large enough to put a lot of small things inside. And right beneath the left table console, there's a small hole that is specially designed for putting in a water bottle, and of course, that is where you will find the magazine rack. And moving up, this is where you will find the menu sitting on top of the surface, and there is also a small amenity kit, but all of these will be detailed in a later section of this video, so let's move on to this interesting space where it has a specially designed hook that can hold on to the noise cancelling headphone and keep it in its place when you are not using it. And right beside it, towards the left side of me, is where all of the digital stuffs are situated. You get a headphone jack, a USB outlet, a standard universal outlet, the entertainment console module, an adjustable reading light, and of course, the seat controls. And right behind my shiny forehead, you're gonna find the headrest. And interestingly, there is a very visible stain on the headcloth, and I wonder how much it would have cost Finnair to replace this simple headcloth, because this thing definitely deserved to retire. And talking about dirty things that could have easily been fixed, right on the fake leather ottoman, there is a piece of gunk that has been solidly lodged into its textures, and that means that it has been there for quite some time. And since I am an absolute maniac who just flies around the world for fun, I decided to be the janitor because I kinda feel bad for paying only $250 for my trip. And voila, you can see after quite a few scratches, it easily comes off and makes me wonder why Finnair does not even bother with these extremely visible flaws. Now looking at the tray table, it can be popped open by pulling a latch underneath the table surface, and it swings out to be a relatively solid but two-folded small surface. It cannot be pushed forward or backwards, so it is rather limiting in positions. And towards my right side, closer to the aisles, you can pop this button to raise the armrest so you can be isolated from the aisle traffic, and there is a relatively large compartment that can be opened, and that is also where you will find the noise-canceling headphones. This area is definitely enough for you to store a lot of personal items, and is the largest compartment you'll find on this seat. And testing out the headphone quality, I can only say they are about so-so, since they do not cancel most of the noise coming from the galleys. So I bet most of its retail competitors are gonna have it beat. And continue with the amenities that they offer. Here is the amenity kit and all of its contents. You can see Finnair provides a very bare-bone amenity kit. It has a dental kit, some earplugs, an eyeshadow, and a small flying essential packet from LA Brookit, which is actually a Swedish brand. And here, their famous organic recipe is filled in 2 tubes of lip balm and facial cream. So there's definitely some cost cutting being done here in this amenity kit. And lastly, taking a look of the entertainment system, Finnair definitely has one of the best user interfaces I've seen on any airline, as it gives you a detailed outline of how things are gonna flow during this entire flight. It tells you the rough timeline of when the meals are gonna be served, and always provides the detailed amount of time that is left for the rest of this flight. I definitely wish more airlines can provide transparent information of how the service flow is gonna be, but I know it is just a pipe dream. And of course, it gives a quick access to the accurate and digital map where you can pinch and zoom to all of your heart's desires. And next to it, on another easily accessible major button, you can check out the 2 in-flight cameras that is installed at the tail fin and beneath the aircraft on this state-of-the-art A350. To the left side of the home screen is a large and detailed menu, and by clicking into the Movies and Series tab, you can see that Finnair offers a large selection of all kinds of entertainment for all groups of people. This is especially true for Asian cinema as well as music. This is because Finnair's major focus is by transporting people between Europe and Asia. Since they are situated at the perfect location towards the northeast of the European continent, they can provide a one-stop service between a lot of city pairs that would otherwise never get such easy transit options. And so you will find a lot of Japanese TV shows, Chinese movies, and Indian music. And you can also see the touchscreen functionality is relatively modern, as there is only a little bit of lag on the screen, and the precision is generally acceptable. And my favorite part of this entire menu is that there is actually a functional online shop. You can select a myriad of products that is designed by Marimekko, a famous Finnish company. And oh, they also have this champagne set for 36 euros. So I guess I should steal some of that champagne glasses from the lounge. But this screen is already showing its wear and tear, as sometimes the computer would crash and force me to reboot the system manually. So congratulations Finnair, you somehow made a state-of-the-art airplane built just 6 years ago look outdated and old in some situations. But I do appreciate the pre-departure Aurora Borealis show on the roof. And with that being said, as we are slowly being pushed back, let us watch our taxi and departure not from the window, but from the tail camera, so we can watch our own departure in a third person's view. As we are slowly climbing out the frozen Helsinki airport, it is finally high time for us to take a look of the beautifully presented menu. On the cover, there's a slight hint of an embossed Finnair logo on the front, which is subtle and drop dead gorgeous at the same time. And flipping it open, you can see on the first page, we have all of the food options available for both of the meals during this flight. There's a healthy selection of 3 different kinds of meats available for main course, but if you're a vegetarian, you're gonna have a hard time deciding between fish, pork, and beef. And as for the dessert, there's a cheese plate as well as a selection between a blueberry mousse as well as a raspberry cake. So let me know in the comment section down below if you are a blueberry gang or a raspberry guy. But weirdly, there's only one single option available for the pre-landing meal, and I will elaborate further when we get to it. Flipping over to the next page, you can see that there is a myriad of selection for a lot of different kinds of drinks. So you should not be starved of choices when there are so many different wines, spirits, soft drinks, tea, coffee, and champagne available for choosing in business class. So all in all, the catering looks perfectly fine. And yet, the most bizarre thing when I flipped over to the last page is that it is completely blank. I don't know who designed this menu, but they did a fantastic job at the front, but they completely dropped the ball at the back. Did they just forget that you have to staple these pages together? Or perhaps they could have translated all of the drinks into Chinese and put it down on this blank page instead? Anything is better than this. Why would you put my resume onto the last page? I'm genuinely offended. Upon finishing the contemplation of my life choices, the hot towel arrived 1 hour after departure, and I quickly freshened up to confront my mortal enemy, alcohol. To begin with, I had some hot nuts with Joseph Perrier's Cuvée Royal Brut Champagne. While it is not the best that is being offered in business class across the world, it is a fantastic bubbly with deep aroma and great taste. So I have absolutely no qualms about it. And afterwards, all of the foods came rushing in on the same plate. The first appetizer, the corn puree with edamame, was deeply savory and very delicious. And not to mention, the color is absolutely fantastic. But my favorite child has to be the other appetizer, the herb tartlet with shredded chicken and mustard seeds. Look at these microgreens dotted around the top of this pastry. And you can say that I judge a book by its cover all day, every day. And as for the main course, I opted for the braised beef cheeks. It is soft, tender, flavorful, and juicy. And I can say that this might be one of the best beefs I have ever had while in the air. And not to mention, the dark truffle sauce added a depth of flavor that is completely unmatched by any of the other kinds of sauce that you can possibly put onto this gorgeous dish. So bravo, Finnair. You have done a fantastic job of catering the food. And that also includes the delicious dessert option, which I chose blueberry with chocolate mousse. And as you are watching me quickly chowing down on all of these different foods with all of the gusto that I could have ever mustered at 2 AM in the morning, I can tell you that the service flow is just mediocre. While the crew is attentive and trying their best in order to cater all of these business class passengers in the full cabin, their workflow is not exactly what I would call optimized given the slow speed, and their attitude is only something that I could categorize as aloof and distant. Sure, they are doing their job perfectly fine, but they are not doing their jobs perfect and fine. And as dinner concluded 2 hours and a half after the departure, we were already overflying the southeastern part of Romania, having to bypass Russia and Belarus and Ukraine for the obvious recent conflict. This 9-hour journey was extended by an additional 50%. And watching our plane maneuvering around all of the political boundary is kind of an insane thing to do in 2023. And so I decided to walk to the lavatory to check out what options I have in order to freshen myself up. And sadly, Finnair didn't do anything special for the business class bathroom, and there is only a small hand wash from LA Bucket. So I decided to turn my seat into the lie flat mode and go into the late night slumber that I so rightfully deserve after ingesting 4,500 calories, both at the launch and then right on board. So I'm gonna see you on the other side of the continent after we have crisscrossed 40 countries' political boundaries and all of their conflicts. Oh, the Pakistani-Indian dispute around the borders is sure gonna make a great bedtime story.
"70 years later."
I snoozed a solid 7 hours while in my comfortable seat and under the heavy blanket. And upon a close examination of our flight route, I found out that I might be on one of the wackiest flight routes these days, as we swing across Romania into the Black Sea and then traverse through the Caucasus Mountains, only to end up crossing through the entire Kazakhstan and entering China through this weird angle in Xinjiang province. And in row 1, above the lady sleeping soundly, the crew placed a small snack basket that is full of all kinds of goodies and invited me to take a gander. And it gave me an exceptional opportunity to scare the lady as she opened her eyes, and I was standing right next to her, towering over her with a bag of nuts in my mouth. But tomfoolery aside, we are quickly approaching our destination, and it is time for our pre-landing light meal. This time, it was surprisingly fast, probably given the fact that there is simply no option to choose from at all. And I was presented with one tray full of all kinds of dishes. This light meal may be heavier than the dinner that I had just after takeoff. And needless to say, the cold cuts and the fruit salad were absolutely fresh and on point. While the egg quiche or tart, which I'm not exactly sure, is a little bit too heavy on eggs, which I do not appreciate as much. But overall, the meal is competent and good, but given any other choice, I would have chosen something else. But Finnair decided to not offer any option, which is even rare for economy meals. And I guess it is a way for them to cut down on cost, since it will drastically reduce on staffing cost as well as food waste. But for business class, I'm not exactly sure it will present the best image to the rest of the world. And there are all kinds of people with all kinds of dietary restrictions who may be trapped in between eating something they do not like or just simply starving for another 4 hours. But Finnair might be cheap. I am even cheaper because I only paid about $270 for my entire business class flight from Frankfurt. So I say I got a pretty good deal. And how did I manage to do that? Well, just a few years ago, right before the pandemic, Finnair did a little bit of what we professional fly hacker call an oopsie and set the ticket base price between certain cities to be $1 single. And needless to say, I pounced onto that, and after a few rounds of pandemic delays, I still managed to fly all the way from Frankfurt to Hong Kong and all the way back for a total of about 540 euros. And in fact, this kind of oopsie can happen all the time, and I post about them pretty frequently on my community tab. So I would highly recommend you to click the subscribe button on my channel so you can keep yourself updated in the loop, because a lot of these tickets disappear really fast. And as our dirt cheap business class experience was coming to an end, it is time to give Finnair a grading score on our scientific, objective, and board certified series business out of 420. Let's see if Finnair can beat out all of the other competitors I have previously reviewed on this channel. Let's begin with the ground experience. While the Platinum Wing was absolutely gorgeous and the sauna available was over the top, business class only grants you the relatively modern business class lounge. So you can still experience the Nordic design, the certain level of pizzazz of all of the light fixture, and a great shower suite, as the food really leaves a lot to be desired as it is blander than some of my earlier videos on the channel. So it gets a very decent 58 out of 70. Next up is the seat. While Finnair has the most run-of-the-mill reverse herringbone seat, and there are certain flaws that cannot be overlooked, being able to lie flat with most of the modernity as well as relatively ample storage means that the seat cannot really be that terrible. And I had a really good night of sleep on board, so I decided to give it another 58 out of 70. And moving on to amenities, Finnair does have a great blanket as well as a pair of flip-flops, but the lack of pajama as well as a bare-bone amenity kit means that it can only score something around a 37 out of 70. And then we have the food and drinks. While all of the dishes I have got are absolutely fantastic, and all of the options presented seem to strike a very good balance between healthy, presentable, as well as delicious, there's really no way to excuse providing only one single option for the pre-landing light meal, as this is virtually unheard of even in economy class. So I have to give it a lower 45 out of 70. And then we have the service. While the crew are all competent and kind, they really seem like they are just doing their job and wishing to cash the checks. And I cannot imagine being a Finnish business executive and find out that my entire cabin crew does not even speak my own language on our national carrier. So Finnair gets a 42 out of 70. But we are gonna end on a high note with value. As Finnair has been consistently the cheapest business class provider between Asia and Europe, and also the fact that they connect some of the cities that normally would never have an intercontinental service, such as Xi'an, Nanjing, Fukuoka, and many others before the pandemic. So really, Finnair fits their niche perfectly well, and their value is absolutely fantastic. So even based upon the normal prices instead of my special promotion of $1 ticket, the airline gets a fantastic 65 out of 70. And that puts Finnair's total into 305. Being barely edged out by Netherlands KLM, mostly due to the airline having a better service as well as a better ground experience. So after all of the airline edging, what is your thought based upon what you have seen? And perhaps you have flown Finnair's A350 business class before? Let me know in the comment section down below. But right now, as we are on the final approach to Hong Kong, darkness has settled in once again. The long flight has taken so many hours that a full day has elapsed during our voyage. So I have to turn up the tail camera again, and let's watch the landing from a third-person view one last time.
Well, welcome to Hong Kong. I hope you have enjoyed this review of Finnair Airlines A350 business class. And I really hope that you can click the like button as well as the subscribe button, because this really means a lot to me. And I'll see you in the next review.
And indeed, I do have quite a few other business class products reviewed on my channel, so if you want to check out the business class playlist, please click on this end card, and also, why don't you check out some other interesting video I have featured right here. And I will see you in another video exploring this gorgeous little blue planet.